Hello and welcome to the yapfest podcast. I'm the Second City Pope.
And I'm the cis that built this chapel.
Oh, that was really good. That was really good. I knew where you were going immediately after you started your sentence. So today, I'm on the beach. I don't know why. It felt peaceful, and I'm sick of my fuck ass background. And I have this thing on my couch called Closed Mountain. It's basically a mountain.
It's real, guys.
It's real. It's real.
I have one too.
Imagine it was in the background here. So I have Closed Mountain on the couch that I have in my room. I also have a stain from eating a taco on my shirt, and I didn't want to change my shirt. Don't fucking look at it. This is what life looks like when you're almost 23. This is what, okay, hashtag messy girl aesthetic, okay? Anyway, so I have this, honestly, there was a landslide, okay, and some of Closed Mountain is on the floor right now, but it's still piled high enough that you can see it, and that, it's worth touching right now, me and Closed Mountain. I'm touching her right now. I enjoy a good palm tree. I enjoy a good wave. So that's where we are.
And I'm here.
Ben's in the Lord's house as a Jewish man.
Guys, we are, both Lola and I are ascending to the next level in this episode because we're talking about religion, but we also just saw a higher power in edibles. So
it's so true, and I'm so excited for where this is going to lead me.
We'll see where we are cognitively at the end of this episode.
Should I set like a timer? Like a 30-minute, 1 hour?
Yes.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, I took fast acting ones.
I'll just do half an hour and an hour, and then anything past that is
fair game.
Fair game. I was going to say free game. I couldn't remember the word. So, it's already happening to me. Also, my hair looks crazy right now. I don't know what's wrong with it. Like,
I'm so glad that the background is not showing all of it right now on me.
Well, but, like, mine is, like, my hair is, like, half one haircut and half another haircut. And so I need to get this haircut to be one haircut, and I just haven't done it yet because I'm lazy. And so this is what's happening. I look like a damn jellyfish.
Cat.
So guys, if you listen to the last episode, you know that I had to... You disappeared. If you listen to the last episode, you know that I had to get an extender for my necklace that didn't fit my neck. Well, I got it, and it's here, and it's fine now. The religious trauma that we're about to unpack.
Truly.
Unmatched. And also, kind of, it's going to be like the same, but in different fonts, because we grew up different. Like, he's Jewish. I grew up Catholic. And so, that's different. Although, I was never confirmed. I took First Communion, and then I was never confirmed because I had gone to Catholic school for, like preschool through first grade. I went to Catholic school, and then my parents got divorced, and then I started going to public school, which, by the way, was so much fun for me because, like, so whenever I watch TV and stuff, right, like, everybody on TV goes to public school with, like, the exception of, like, Victorious, but that's, like, a performing arts high school, so it was still, like, I don't know, something that I didn't have. I would be so jealous of, like, the TV shows, how they all got to go to public school. And then I went to public school and I was like, oh. But honestly, like, if you go to Catholic school, it's also kind of like, oh. But, like, because I started going to, like, I literally went to preschool at a Catholic school, like, I don't know. It like, that's the only reason it felt more normal to me is because that's literally the way I was socialized. Like, when I went to public school and I was in second grade, I was like, so when's the fish fry? They were like...
When's the fish fry is crazy.
Well, I mean, like, but when is it? Because fish fry is, like, the best thing the Catholics could have invented. I'm sorry. Like, we went through all that, and, like, every time I'm gonna pick up a fish fry plate and eat that shit off the bone.
I think of the two of us, I would consider myself the more religious one still.
Which is fine.
It's
okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Guys, you can have religious trauma and still celebrate religion.
True.
Religion.
You just have to heal all the other stuff first. That's really hard, by the way.
Yes, and we'll get into my religious trauma for sure.
For sure.
But grew up Jewish in a Jewish family in a very non-Jewish neighborhood. For reference, I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast before. I sure I have, but I'm a triplet.
Yeah, you've said it.
And excluding me and my siblings, there was one other Jewish person in my elementary school.
Which is crazy to me because I feel like Chicagoland is so Jewish, but like
it is so Jewish, but I was so north. Wisconsin.
You were like so north that it didn't really.
No, like, it was like the burbs of the burbs.
Yeah,
like it was so far removed. And as I grew up and got closer to the city, I started meeting more Jewish people, even more Jewish than me. And so it's been a great experience getting to know them. Being one of the only Jewish kids at school was definitely an experience. It was never something at the time that I thought I had to hide or did hide. Now, looking back, did I get bullied for it? Absolutely, 100% yes. It's a known fact that as a kid, I was severely bullied, but had no recollection of the fact that I was being bullied. I saw what bullying really could be. Like, it wasn't the typical, like, got shoved in a locker, books knocked out of hands, like, things thrown at me. It wasn't that kind of bullying. It was, like, sly little comments that would get passed around, or just, like, small little acts that, like, never really made me think twice. And now I'm here.
And now I'm here. When I was a kid and I was in, like, especially in, like, middle school, because honestly, like, I don't know, but I would always, like, if somebody bullied me, I just bully them back. I didn't think anything of it. I think I've said that before. Actually, why don't you tell everybody what happened with Joe Exotic's husband?
Okay, sidetrack, friends.
I think we should talk about this.
So a couple of months ago, I was scrolling through the Book of Faces, and you know how sometimes, as it depends on how far you scroll, you get a pop-up and it goes, people you may know. And it's a bunch of different profiles, and it usually has, like, all these different recommended profiles, and it tells you how many mutual friends you have, or, like, maybe the common thing is, like, a workplace or a school, and it connects you through that. And I'm scrolling, and sometimes I just like to flip through to see all the people that I know but will never friend on Facebook. And I'm scrolling, and I get to this photo of these two guys, and it's not a name I recognize, nor do I have any mutual friends. And I'm looking at this profile picture, and I'm looking at the two guys, and I was like, one of you looks real familiar. Real familiar. I was like, but I don't think it's, like, on a personal level. And I'm looking. I zoom in, and I go, holy fucking shit, that's Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
And I click on the profile, and it's Joe Exotic's husband. And so I go, haha, hee hee, haha, that's so funny. I send it to a couple of my friends, like a screenshot of it. And Lola goes, friend him now. And so eventually I did. And I didn't think anything of it. He was like, he's probably never going to ever respond. Like, actively, this man is in jail. Like, well, just the other day, he got out and got deported to Mexico.
Yeah, which is sad, by the way.
Which means he now has access to social media. And guess what? He accepted my friend request. So I am now Facebook friends with Joe Exotic's husband. And all he posts all day is AI videos of Joe Exotics that say, like, free him, free Joe Exotic. It's crazy.
And so I get a phone call at, like, 11:45 a.m.
Mind you, in normal person time, that's like lunchtime. In Lola time, that's I have 2 more hours of sleep.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Yeah, I've been doing really bad with that. Like, there are some days that I will get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and some days where I'm sleeping when I'm sleeping, okay? But anyway, besides the point. So I get a call at 11:45 a.m. I had just gotten up. Benjamin calls me, and I was already halfway up the stairs, so I had to come back because I got the call on my watch. So I had to come downstairs and get my phone, and then I had to call him back. And he was like freaking out. He was like, "This is not a drill. This is not a drill." I thought something was wrong. I thought there was an emergency. I don't know what I thought was wrong, but like, I genuinely thought like something really really bad happened, or like there was something juicy that I needed to know ASAP. Unfortunately, it was neither of those things.
Now, how could you say that's not something juicy you needed to know immediately?
Well, okay, it was something juicy that I needed to know immediately, but I pick up the phone and he's like, Joe Exotic's husband friended me back. And I was like, see, I told you. I told you you should friend request him because I was the one that was like, you have to send him a friend request. Like, you have to. Because if you're showing, or if he's showing up in people you may know, you're showing up in his people you may know.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, probably. I don't actually know how, like, algorithms and stuff work, but, like, that's what happened today. And then we were going to record earlier in the day, and then Danny was hogging the Zoom. So here we are. It's 9:18 p.m.
Time to lock in.
Time to lock the fuck in. Timer check. 15 minutes have gone by.
I'm going to be honest. Lola and I had talked quite a bit before we started recording. These are supposed to take 15 to 20 minutes to lock in, and I don't feel shit.
When did you take it?
Like 25 minutes ago.
You might have to take more. How much did you take?
10 milligrams.
I'm going to say that it's coming.
Give me 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm going to hit a wall. Let's preface by saying this. This episode is being filmed after we have found out that our new Pope Leo the something, I don't know, is literally from the south side of Chicago. Not the south side, but like southern Chicagoland area.
I didn't watch Conclave, not gonna lie.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, apparently
that
he was
movie
watching
came out this year.
Apparently he was watching Conclave while they were in the Conclave, allegedly. But like, I'm really entertained by every single meme I see, and so I keep saying I'm gonna have a Chicago Pope summer, and I'm committed to that. I'm committed to the people of Chicago, even though I'm not from there.
Danny, my wonderful boyfriend's new earworm is this TikTok, where the Pope, or a voiceover of the Pope goes, "Da body," and it's an Italian beef from Portillo's.
It's so funny.
And then for "Da blood," it's a shot of malört. Which, if for my non-Chicagoan listeners or viewers, Jeffson's malört is alcohol.
Yes,
that is
liquor.
Apparently safe for consumption.
Allegedly safe for consumption.
Literally markets itself as it tastes bad. Their trucks that drive around delivering is photos of people's reactions drinking, and they're all like,
what is it technically supposed to taste like? Is it supposed to taste like mint? I can't remember what it's technically supposed to taste like.
It's not
the
mint.
Profile is.
I
know it's something like just appalling, but I can't remember what the actual like. Well, because I know there's this shot. There's this shot called a duck fart that they had on Try Guys. Which one of them is from Illinois? I think Keith. I'm pretty sure Keith is from Illinois. And so they do this duck fart shot, and they're like, it's terrible.
So the main flavor profile is wormwood.
You're joking.
No, it's wormwood.
Worm.
Yes. And there's some like citrus, like grapefruit in there. But
that's it.
It's supposed to be like this, like herbal, and it's just bad. Because wormwood is, it doesn't have this like sweet notes to it. It's like rotten.
I need to know who came up with this. Well, and then last year was like the cicada year or whatever, right? And they were literally putting like cicadas in malört shots, and you could like go to these Chicago, or there was a specific like pop-up bar or a specific bar or something where they were serving these malört shots with the cicada in them. Like, it's crazy. I'm not falling for that propaganda. I know it's bad. I don't know why you would want to torture yourself like that. I guess I'm just not letting my freak flag fly like that.
Okay, here we go. So an overview of Jeppson's malört. It's 70 proof. It's a bitter wormwood-based Swedish schnapps. It was first distilled in Chicago in the 1930s by Swedish immigrant Carl Jeppson. Malört is a type of, I'm not even going to attempt that, BASKBRANNVIN, a traditional Swedish bitter liqueur flavored with wormwood and anise. Originally developed in medieval times for its supposed medical properties, or I guess medicinal properties. It was Sweden's most popular drink in the early 1900s.
That's crazy. Now it's associated
Something,
with Chicago.
no, because it's not malört specifically that it was popular. It's the kind of schnapps it is.
Oh.
My favorite thing, there's Reddit, back to this, r/Chicago. And someone goes, Chicagoans, what description best describes the taste of malört? And here's some of the top comments. Grapefruit juice and rubber bands. Imagine someone is putting hairspray in their hair and you walk behind them, mouth open. Rotten grapefruits and turpentine.
Disgusting. Actually, I kind of like the smell of turpentine.
Someone says stomach bile. Notes of fresca, paint thinner, and sadness.
And sadness. Yeah, I'd probably only drink that if I was really sad.
Premium rubbing alcohol gently aged in a hand-selected balsa wood barrel that someone forgot a grapefruit in the bottom of.
I feel like that's actually probably most accurate.
And then someone says, it tastes like the Home Depot by the river.
I kind of get it.
And guys, it's so bad. It really is.
Bad. It's so bad. Like, I'm always really scared. I'm always really scared while I'm in Chicago that somebody's going to try and make me drink malört. Like, I'd rather drink Fireball. And that's saying a lot.
Another Chicago staple.
Fear is struck deep within me whenever we bring up malört and I'm there because I don't want to drink it.
Speaking of fear struck within us, what is your religious trauma that you are willing to unpack today?
So actually, I know that I have it. I just honestly haven't pinpointed it. Like, I haven't pinpointed specifically what comes from that and, like, what's just me. But, like, I know I have it, and I know that it's probably influenced a lot of my life. I can't tell you specifically what I think it is, but, like, I can tell you what's something that... Oh, no! Not Closed Mountain. I can tell you, like, things that I think
speaking.
Probably... I know. Stop! But I can't take notes for specifics. Time check. It's been 20... What's 30 minus 5? 25.
25!
It's been 25 minutes. We have 5 minutes left on the first timer. Okay, anyway, I'm trying to use my water bottle to cover the stain on my shirt because I'm not changing.
Well, then, do you have any, like, funny religious memories?
Well, I was going to tell you, like, some of the things that, like, I think affected me. So... Well, first of all, like I said, I didn't get... So, when you're Catholic, you basically take First Communion when you're, like... I think when I was in, like, second grade, I did First Communion. So, I was 7, but usually you're, like, 7 or 8. Yeah, I was 7, though, because I was 7 in second grade, and that got really confusing for me as a child. I kept telling people I was in 7th grade. So I took First Communion. To do that, you have to go to, like, you're required to go to PSR, which is basically, I forget what PSR stands for because I don't do all that stuff anymore. So I had to go to PSR for a long time. And at that point, so second grade was the first year that I went to public school. And so I was, like, separate from my friends that still... Because my best friend Ainsley, still went to the Catholic school that I had been at. And for context, it's preschool through 8th grade, that one school. That's another thing. the way that Catholic schools work is usually you go to one school, preschool or kindergarten through 8th grade, and then
Yep.
you go to high school.
I had friends who went to my high school but spent all of their other academic careers in a single private Catholic school.
And then, especially in St. Louis, choosing you have to pick which high school you want to go to, and you have to like apply and stuff. Or well, at least for the Catholic schools,
Mhm.
um, which is a big thing here because St. Louis is like majority Catholic, I would say. But anyway, so I was separate. Like I didn't see my friends from Catholic school every single day, so I would go to PSR. I would go to PSR with my best friend Ainsley. Her mom would drive us. And then I got to hang out with all my friends there. I honestly don't even remember learning anything. I think I was just hanging out. I don't remember a single thing.
Lola,
I remember that there was, I don't know if there was a test I had to pass or there was something that I had to do to make sure that I was like ready to take communion or whatever, and I don't remember what it was. I mean, it wasn't important to me. You know what I mean? Like I really like, and the only reason I even went to Catholic school or like grew up practicing Catholicism in any way is because my dad's parents were Catholic. Oh, that's another thing. I did get baptized, and I never ended up getting confirmed because by then I was in public school, and honestly, it was kind of like a thing of the past. Like I think once I was like 10, my grandparents were like that I they really didn't care anymore. I was in public school by then anyway. So, but anyway, I would just go and hang out at PSR, and I thought it was so much fun. I got to see all my old friends. And then I would go home, and then I would have to go to public school the next day, which I didn't like because I had a hard time making friends. I don't know if any of you guys have ever like moved schools in like where you didn't start out um like in high school it's different. I feel like if you move schools because like you're starting like as a freshman. Oh, that's our 30-minute timer. If you're going to like a new school and you're going into like freshman year of high school,
Mhm.
it's like it's a little bit easier because like I mean people still know other people, but also usually it's several schools coming together and like it's not just one. Usually it's not just one unless you're in a really small town. It's not just one
Mhm.
middle school or whatever that's like going into like it turns into a melting pot, so that's easier. But like I went into second grade, so like everybody else had been like knew each other kindergarten and
Mhm.
first grade, and then we went into second grade and I was just kind of inserted there. And so I mean like that's not religious trauma, but that's something additional trauma
Mhm.
to add into the mix. Anyway, it was very weird for me, and I feel like it was an adjustment because like another thing about Catholic school is usually like your classes, students in the
Mhm.
class, not like classes, but like your class is usually like small.
Mhm.
So like there were like 20 or 25 kids in the class that I was in when I was in Catholic school. I was in a second grade class out of like 4 or 5 second grade classes. And so there were so many more people and it was so overwhelming and scary. So I took first communion and I like had to, I don't know, it was this whole weird thing. Like I had to miss like a day of regular school for it because
Mhm.
like the Catholic school, it was built into their day that they were going to miss, like that's just what they were doing. It's part of the curriculum basically
Mhm.
that you're going to miss that day of class for first communion or
A field trip, if
whatever.
you will.
Yeah, basically, except like it wasn't anywhere. You know what I mean? Like the parish was right
Yeah,
across the street. All we had to do was cross the street, and then the school was right there.
an assembly.
Yeah, basically it is. Yeah, but like mass was basically an assembly too. But like I had to take a whole day off of regular school to do it, which I thought was great. By the way, and it kind of was. But like you have to learn all these stupid rules when you take first communion. Like there's a certain way to do everything, and it's like I don't even remember any of it. Even if I've gone up and taken communion, which I haven't in like 6 or 7 years, don't remember how to do it. So when you receive, I don't know. Oh, you guys probably don't know this. So basically, there's this thing that Catholic people do. I don't know if they, again, don't know if they do it in the Christian church. I have no idea. It's like the body and blood of Christ, and you take communion is taking the eating the body and the blood of Christ. So it's like these wafers, which by the way are delicious. The body of Christ wafers. There's a Catholic supplies store downtown here. I want to go there and I want to get a big thing of the wafers because they're so yummy. And the blood of Christ is wine. And they told us we didn't have to drink the wine like when we were younger because I get some people did, but like we thought it was gross at that age. So when you take communion, you have to hold your hands out, and you can't take communion until you take first communion. Like that's the whole thing. Is that like even if you're baptized, you don't go up and take communion until you've done first communion, and then later you get confirmed. Which honestly, I don't really know anything about confirmation because I didn't do it. But anyway, you go up. You like form a line out of the pews or whatever, depending on the church and how big it is and all these different things. Sometimes there's multiple like servers depending on the amount of people. But you have to cup your hands like I'm doing. So if audio listeners, just imagine me cupping my hands and there's a palm tree behind me, okay? And one goes over the other specific, like your right is supposed to go over. There are certain situations where your right's supposed to go over your left and certain situations where your left is supposed to go over your right. I don't remember any of it, but there's a certain way to do it. And you hold it out. The priest says the body of Christ, and then you eat it or whatever and do the cross. And then you go and you get wine if you want it, but you don't have to take it. Sometimes actually even you can go up to take communion and then not eat the wafer and not actually take the wine. Like it's a symbolism thing sometimes people do, especially if like you don't drink and you go to take the wine. Sometimes they'll like offer it to you, like you take a sip but you don't actually take a sip. But anyway, that's what basically what first communion is they teach you all those rules and stuff. And so that's what I was like going to PSR for, is that you have to learn all these rules, but also they taught you more rules on top of that. And then they tried to coordinate 7 and 8-year-olds to like go and like we're all in the, you wear like a white dress. I still have mine actually. And it was really cute. All in all, cult ceremony.
I can only think that if one person had a disease that was transferable by bodily fluids, communion ain't it, sis.
Yeah. Well, and
it,
I mean, technically they wipe the rim, but that doesn't do anything.
Backwash, girl.
Oh yeah, like that really doesn't do anything. But then, so I do first communion, whatever. My public school, I didn't really have friends at this point, but like everybody in public school was like, "What the fuck?" Oh, this is almost like trauma I feel like it's almost trauma in the reverse, because like there's this thing called Catholic guilt. But like I felt so weird and like really embarrassed by having to do all this stuff, and like I didn't have a choice because I was 7. It was like so embarrassing, and like actually it was like kind of low-key normal. I honestly think that the way that other 7 and 8-year-old, like how 7 and 8-year-olds talk to each other is like, I don't know, like I bet I interpreted a lot of it as like they're just interested, you know what I mean, because it's not something that they've like. I'm not sure that I went to school with a lot of other Catholic people when I went to public school. And so like it's literally not something that's within their culture that they experience. But then on the flip side of that, when I went to high school, so then 6th grade or 2nd grade through 8th grade, I went to public school. And then I went to Catholic high school. And so when you're in 8th grade, you get confirmed. Well, I never got confirmed because I didn't go to Catholic school. And also, like, I wouldn't have wanted to get confirmed anyway. But then when I, like, got to high school, everybody had been confirmed. Well, not everybody, because it was a little bit diverse. But, like, most of the people I knew had been confirmed, and I hadn't been confirmed. And then that made me feel weird. I'm sure there's, like, things that are buried in my mind that I really have to think about that are actually, like, well, I mean, there's the concept of Catholic guilt, which I didn't think that I had. Like, I thought that was just how I was wired. But, like, I think maybe actually I do have it a little bit, but, like, not in the way that you would expect. It's like weird stuff. that I think that I feel Catholic guilt about. It's very bizarre. The experience is just strange.
Believe it or not, we actually have some shared experiences, especially in the fact of like going to a school where the majority is not that religion and you're taking days out from school. Like the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar. Our current day, is it Gregorian calendar?
Gregorian. Yep, and guess what? That's Catholic.
Is a solar calendar. And so the amount of days in a year between a lunar and a solar calendar are different. And so, because of that, holidays in the Jewish calendar don't line up on like how most weekends are on the weekends or a Monday. Jewish holidays floated everywhere. There's variables of months within these holidays. Like sometimes Hanukkah starts in November, sometimes it starts at the end of December.
In my opinion, that makes more sense, but what do I know?
I would miss days for like the high holidays and whatnot. It didn't make sense to anybody. Now, let's get into the microaggressions. I specifically remember this one kid, and I don't care, I'm going to say his name. I went to a school with a guy named Dylan.
Dang!
I don't remember his last I do remember his last name. Not going to say that.
I don't want to get sued, please.
I'm going to bully him for a second because tell me why in first grade he already was wearing bifocals. Anywho.
You're one to talk. Your lenses are like this thick. Are you joking?
Can I say something? Can I say something? Bifocals are a little embarrassing.
Okay, maybe. I mean, like when you're like 3 and you need bifocals. Okay.
It's like, what do you mean you can't see either direction, or close?
It happens to the best of us.
Well, in this case, the worst of us.
Okay, yeah. I keep forgetting. I'm trying to play devil's advocate. I keep forgetting we're talking about a literal bully.
He would sit. I don't remember what block we were in, but he would sit next to me, and he would draw stars of David's on all of my worksheets. But then it evolved to swastikas.
Oh, so that's like really, really bad. You had me in the first half. I was like, I don't really like the Star of David is fine. Like, I don't understand why that's bad. But yeah, that's pretty bad actually.
I was like, oh, that's the only other symbol he knows, apparently.
Like, out of all the symbols on the face of the planet, how are those the only two you know?
I knew he would do the Star of David because I was Jewish. I thought he was like just trying to draw Jewish symbols, and I was like, I don't know why I was expecting this kid to draw menorah one day. Like,
dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. I made
or
it out of
fucking
clay.
dreidel. The crazy thing is, I can see a dreidel from here. Guys, I'm still really, really Jewish, if not even more Jewish than I was back then.
And that's okay.
And I think in that case I told the teacher, but I don't remember it going further than that. Because I feel like that would be something that school would call home for.
Yeah, I think it would be.
And that definitely did not happen unless I've regressed that memory.
Repressed.
Regress is the opposite way, huh?
Regress means something else entirely.
Oh, I digress.
Well, at least you know what digress means.
That's what made me think of it. I was like, oh, I know that one.
We digress so much on this show.
We digress. So fuck you, Dylan. What was that
Yeah.
for?
Fuck you, Dylan.
And so I never really took that as trauma until a long time afterwards, aka like in the present. But just why do you do that to somebody?
I don't
Kids are
know.
awful. Kids are awful to each
Kids
other.
are, well, but you know where they get it from is
Their parents. No, I'll be honest, it was not the only guy to do an anti-Semitic thing at my high school.
Well, it doesn't surprise me, but it doesn't mean that they're not Nazis.
And so elementary school and beginning of middle school was just fine. Nothing really happened until I turned 13. For those of you who don't know, when Jewish people turn 13, they are now viewed in the community as an adult. They go through a process for, if it's a boy, it's a bar mitzvah. If it's a girl, it's a bat mitzvah. Mitzvah, in Hebrew means like good deed. When you turn 13, you are instructed by God to present yourself in front of Him, and like it's basically
Like
going
pledge
through.
pledge that you'll do good deeds.
Yeah, essentially be a good Jewish person. It's basically being like confirmed. And that's the thing. It's literally the same God
Yeah, just in
that
different
both
fonts.
Catholics and Jews exactly, but we believe to all have been one people. Judaism is an ethno-religious group, meaning being Jewish is just as much as an ethnicity as it is a religion. So you can genetically pass down Jewish inheritance. Um,
Even if you were like not practicing, you can still be ethnically Jewish.
the term Jew first referred to those living in the city of Judaica. Due to a god that they were worshiping, it became one of the first religions, essentially. I should say monotheistic religion. After I turned 13 and had in my case, Benai mitzvah, because there was more than one being bar and bat mitzvah at the same time.
Bad to the bone.
Triplets check. Our theme was bad to the bone, BAD. That's our initials.
Love it. Need a shirt immediately.
After I turned 13, there was an elder in the community who would see me and like ask me about my appearance because like occasionally I had my nails painted. And they would say like, "Oh, why would you ever do that to yourself? You're a boy." Most of the other community members uh, would say, "Oh, I like your nails. Like, can you do mine next time?" Yada yada yada. Just like making a kid still feel like a kid even though they're bar mitzvahed.
Saying something normal.
Versus this person who would always be like, "That's a girl thing to do." And the reason why it would make me so upset is because this was a person in the community that I had looked up to, that held like an extreme amount of power within the community and the congregation. After I turned 13, there was no restriction on how many like Shabbat services I could miss because like when you're in Hebrew school getting ready to get bar mitzvah, you have to be at every service, do a different prayer at each service, like rigorous training. And now that I didn't have to go anymore, I would make up excuses as why I wasn't going. Oh, I'm tired. I don't feel good. I got to do homework. I just don't want to go. Yada, yada, yada. And it really put a strain on my faith. Like, why would God make me this way? Blah, 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 blah. You know, the usual religious gay panic.
The stuff.
Hi, queers.
Hi, gay.
Hi, gay. It was like all the way through high school and like until college that I really started to become a follower again and like sort of sorted through my beliefs. I had some healing in high school, but it wasn't until college where through campus and just like because it was so small, you were going to meet everybody. And I started to meet, honestly, for the first time in my life, like other Jewish people just like out in the wild. Similar, like you were saying, like with the small classes, I graduated with people I went to kindergarten with.
Yeah.
Like it's where I grew up is not a really big town. It's not the smallest, but it's not very big. You still have connections with almost everybody you were in kindergarten with.
That's crazy to me because I didn't graduate with people I went to kindergarten with.
And like I graduated with others because there were feeder schools and whatnot. But like I could pick out everybody that went to my elementary school, getting to hear those people's experiences and helping find and found Hillel on campus and getting connections through other Hillels across campuses. I started meeting these diverse people and I started getting interested in learning again. And that's what I think was the hardest part, is that I didn't want to continue learning about my faith because going to Hebrew school was such a strain, and like being forced to go to services and not having a say and then finally getting to have a choice. I didn't want to put myself in that situation again, and I finally was, but on my own terms. Through that, I've discovered a different level of practice that I want to keep within my household that varies from my family. This fascinating and interesting part of my culture that I've never heard anyone I know explore before. It's like been one hell of a ride. If you would have asked middle school Ben if I would be living the life I'm living now, the answer would be no. It would be total shock.
I think part of it, half your body was gone for a second. I think part of it is like when you're younger, you don't really live in it culturally that much. Like even if you go to like if you go to temple and if you go to church and whatever, like technically you're participant, but like you're not because you can't really at that young of an age.
Mm-hmm.
You're only doing the religion part. And that's the part where I mean from an academic standpoint, that's the part that's like less fun because it's like you're learning the rules and you're learning like
Mm-hmm.
you have to read like Bible passages or Torah passages or like it's very technical and you don't get to make like you they make you do what is traditional and what's like expected of you to do within the religion and you don't get to make it your own and like make it work for you. And that's the problem with a lot of organized religion. Like I like the concept of Judaism a lot more than I like the concept of Catholicism or
Mm-hmm.
Christianity. You don't belong to like an ultra conservative, and I never belonged to an ultra conservative sect of Catholicism. That's the thing. In high school, like I went to the most liberal Catholic high school in St. Louis. I don't know if they still are, but at the time, they let a girl come back after she got pregnant. And that's like for Catholic school, that's like
That's
huge.
crazy.
Yeah. Also, I think it harbored probably the most gay people and the most trans men that I've ever met in my life. Like, shout out to Quinn. I don't know if he listens, but. And here's the thing is that even when they're like, it's still problem, and they still um, perpetuate things that are like, you know what I mean? So, like, I think that that is like a big problem is that like
Mm-hmm.
you literally don't get to like form it to you and how it works for you until you're older. And also you don't really know how to form it to work for you until you're older and until you've like worked through like actual life stuff and like figured out how you need it to work for you, not how you can work for it. Does that make sense?
Correct. There you go. How can religion work for you
Not how
and
you can
not
work
how
for
you
religion.
work for religion?
I'm so wise. I probably read that on Pinterest.
Don't mold yourself to the religion, mold the religion to you.
Correct. And I practice witchcraft now, so
Me too.
I feel like there's a pipeline.
Absolutely. There's a religious aspect to Judaism that nobody talks about. It explains all that the religious texts cannot. So it's trying to improve on itself versus like magic strictly to do what it is versus magic that also coincides with a set of morals instilled by the practice itself. But in other practices, they just craft spells for an intended goal. And it's based off of a list of resources, not a set of morals. Do you think you have healed?
I think I have, but okay, something that I have been thinking I started thinking about literally right now during recording, but
Mm-hmm.
like not until after had spoken the first time. I think I experienced some form of like some form of religious something
Mm-hmm.
trauma. I don't know. I think to a certain extent I have experienced that, but because I wasn't in that environment for like some really like formative years of my life, like because like middle school age is like a really impressionable like time. So like literally from second grade to eighth grade, I went to public school. I feel like because I was removed and like they didn't make me outside of me having to do first communion, they didn't make me go to church. Like they didn't make me do anything. I had been pretty much removed from it for 7 years
Mm-hmm.
and several of those years were like like 6th through 8th grade probably super important for my development and stuff. I probably like those are the years I think where you really experience the most religious trauma
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to experience it. And because I wasn't really involved around that time, I didn't really I didn't experience as much as other people have. And so like I think even the small probable I think small amount that I mean, and here's the thing, I could be dead wrong. I'll probably have some sort of memory tomorrow that I'll be like, ugh, should have told that on the podcast. As I can remember right now, like think I think that I am healed because I don't think I had as much to heal in the first place. You know what I mean? I kind of like view religion from like I view it really objectively. That's also why I'm like kind of, or at least I think I'm like okay or have managed to heal it. I can look at it from an objective perspective in which I can disassociate me from the religion. And a lot of people can't do that. And it's not their fault. It is an ability. It is an ability.
Yeah.
And like that's honestly that's part of the healing. I'm going to say, to answer your question that you asked me many moons ago now, I'm going to say yes, but don't take that with a grain of salt because literally tomorrow the answer could be no.
Yeah, I definitely think I've healed.
I think you have, because you were in turmoil when I met you.
Yes, I was in turmoil. It's not that I wanted to be removed from the religious aspect and celebrate the cultural aspect, which I still do. The culture was never the issue. I was proud to be Jewish. The religious aspect of like going to temple and saying the prayers, and I didn't physically want to be there. I wanted the food and the tradition.
Yeah.
And that part of it.
Well, and like I can see that because honestly, like a lot of it is really like when you're a kid, you don't know like what you're doing and then all of a sudden you're sitting there one day and it's like, who am I praying to and why are we praying to them? And like what's the deal? What's going on? And then you become like aware of like what's actually happening and you're like, I don't know if I agree with this, dog.
I think Catholicism would see its highest conversions to Catholicism if the White Sox somehow win the World Series. If the White Sox win the World Series, which is famously the team Pope Leo roots for, if they somehow become not awful overnight and win some damn games, I think all of Chicago would turn Catholic and I would struggle.
That's crazy. Well, you know who converted to Catholicism? J.D. Vance, and then he went to the Vatican and killed the Pope.
All right, yappers, thank you for listening to today's episode. If you'd like to hear more of our episodes, past episodes and future episodes, continue listening to wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like. If you'd like to watch the video of this episode or past or future episodes, go ahead over to our YouTube channel, yapfest, featuring Ben and Lola. If you want to see some funny clips from today's episode or others, go head over to our TikTok, yapfest.podcast. And if you'd like to see some more behind-the-scenes work of the making of this show, or just what's going on here in Yaplandia,
it's like LaGuardia.
Yaplandia.
See it now.
Go ahead over to our Instagram, yapfest.podcast.
Yas. Thank you, Benjamin, for that quaint outro.
Oh, you know.
We'll see you guys in 2 weeks, I think.
We are... Hi, goodbye.